Okay, gonna give this a try. So, get this started. This is a replay that we got from the Heartland Hitman replay board. That was from DatMunniez, who was amazed at the power of ultras in this matchup. So we're going to see in the bottom left we have Karganator, our red Zerg. We have DatMunniez, the blue Terran. I should probably close that as well. Oh well. Anyway, so I assume we're going to see some kind of a standard opening and somewhat of a late game. You know, given that Ultralists were coming into play and we had 20-something minutes, I believe. I'll hide that next time, if there is a next time. Whatever, this is fun. So, plan is, I'm going to try a few of these casting things. We'll see how it goes. I've been told I have a pleasant voice. Probably by the deaf, but that's okay. I can keep talking because neither of these players is doing actually anything really not standard. Okay, small note. After my cat tears my headphones from my face. Go, cat. Chase that. Thank you. So, small note. This is, I believe, gold or platinum-ish. And that's probably the kind of thing I'm going to be casting, because I honestly cannot criticize anyone above platinum, legitimately, because I am still platinum. And I'm not really going to look to criticize people, but I can at least offer some kind of useful insight. Speaking of which, this is entertaining. Oh, maybe. Maybe. Wow, they're dueling to the death. See, now that's kind of strange. Or I suppose it isn't, because you have the SCV, which has 45 health. The drone has 40 health, but will regenerate even in combat. So in a straight-up fight, I'm actually not sure who wins. I suppose it's the drone, because the drone will take an extra hit while regenerating. They do 5 damage each to each other. Either way, we have a spawning pool down first, into hatchery, into gas. So not going for a quick 3 base. But we do have a very quick 1 racks expand coming from DatMunniez. Building on the low ground, always a little risky. Especially if they're going pool first, and especially if they're getting gas. That actually could get messy pretty quick. A couple Zerglings can actually just ruin your world up here. Because really, at this point, you don't have the time to get down a bunker. And doing so that early is just a waste. I'm not really a fan of doing this on the low ground just because, well, A, if you look at the vision, Zerg can see that, which is not so good if you're the Terran, because now the Zerg knows exactly what you're doing. And B, if they see that and send Zerglings, or even just blindly send like 4 Zerglings, maybe 6, would probably take out these Marines, and at the very least just delay the hell out of this expansion. Do you have a bunker coming down? There was some talk about bunker placements in the last tournament. I actually like around where this is. If you put it too far up, Lings can just run right by, which is definitely a problem, and get into your mineral line, or, well, usually won't get up in there. But back here, you are covering the ramp, so you can block out Zerglings and shoot them from the bunker. You're mostly covering your mineral line, so the harass is pretty minimal. So I do like that spot. Little goof up on the wall there, it looks like. Though this ramp does look bigger. I actually don't know if that was intentional or not. I don't remember having played Terran on this map before. Meanwhile, in Camp Zerg, we have a fairly late speed coming up. Stockpiling some gas. I don't think that's intentional. So we do have a scan from the Terran, sees that there's no layer in the main, which is usually a good indication that there's no layer coming up at all. Does also see the speed going down, and the gas, which is important. Especially if a Zerg is continually mining gas after the first 100, especially if they're getting another right after that, usually that means you're going to have to worry about an early attack or some early tech of some sort. Maybe fast mutas, or early banelings. Just a lot of Zerglings with speed. Even an early roach bust is definitely something you want to worry about. double engineering bays. Definitely going for the late game here. Nothing all that exciting yet. We have 2 evolution chambers, and there's also a lot of talk about this during our little tournament. This is a fantastic placement for these evolution chambers. They're cheap, they're somewhat replaceable. You obviously have to worry about getting your upgrades sniped, but this little choke right here is absolutely fantastic for stopping Hellion run-bys. That queen could just play linebacker all day. We have more gas coming up for our Zerg, not taking a 3rd base yet, which is somewhat unusual, especially against a 2-base Terran. The general rule of thumb, whether you agree with it or not, and it is kind of arguable, I think, is that Zerg wants to stay 1 base ahead of the Terran. So if you are on equal basis with the Terran, you are actually in trouble. Or Protoss, for that matter. Zerg just wants those bases. So where is all this gas going to? We have, let's see, a Baneling Nest, and a Lair, and a Richhorn. Does he have any upgrades? He has speed, and he has double upgrades going as well from those from the 2 evolution chambers. Very handy. So definitely going for the late game from both players. Pretty standard Marine tank. Going for a 3rd command center though. At the same time, we have a 3rd base from Zerg coming down. Very passive game. Scouting Marine. I do, by the way, love the vision that our Zerg has. He has an Overlord. This is where a lot of drops will come out. Has this completely covered. Zergling here, spot for a 3rd. Zergling here, spot for a 3rd. This Overlord. Marine was dead. This Overlord can turn into an Overseer and Scout if he needs to. Also spots drops. Absolutely great. Overlord over here, kind of random, but when Terran drops, usually you're going to see a lot of, oh, I'm going to send it in the most securedest way possible, because you don't want ground units seeing it. You don't want, oh, this Zergling is going to run by and spot my drop. So you're gonna right-click there, right-click there, get him in. So an Overlord here is actually, it seems kind of strange, but this can actually spot a lot of drops that Terran's going to try and do. Some pretty good creep spread, which DatMunniez has not been keeping down, and that is a problem. I don't think DatMunniez has actually done much of anything. He has scouted the 3rd, so he knows that's on the way. He does have his own as well, but he has not moved it out yet. Probably feeling a little scared of what Zerg might have. Though really, he has... Oh, and we have a quick hive coming on. It's... yeah, that's an 11-minute hive. Alright. So, quick hive tech. And 12 Overlords. Someone was supply blocked. Oops. I have done that all the time. I'm not gonna lie. We do have pretty basic Ling Baneling, but with all this extra scouting that the Zerg... like, alright, that Overlord just completely saw that base, that Zergling saw this base. This Zerg has vision on lockdown. And DatMunniez has not really done much about that. A single Viking could have gotten so many Overlord kills by now. 3 down here alone, I believe. I thought there was 3. Nope, apparently there's 2. There's a, well, Overseer. A little trickier to track down, but close enough. So we do have our 3rd base down from DatMunniez. And Karganator might actually be going for an attack. That would be dreadfully exciting. Or not. Maybe. Selecting them? Nope. Just some reinforcements. I say reinforcements and about 5 links come in. Close enough. And here we go. Now we've got the attack coming in. He saw that 3rd base. He wants to stop that 3rd base. Lings get a beautiful surround. Some tanks are not sieged. Banelings coming in, and it is not enough. Barely. Tanks are pretty good. 10 kills between the 2 of those. 6 kills on that Marine. That is a hero Marine. 3 kills. Ouch. So the third stands, just threw away a lot of units. Yeah, the Zerg currently has more than double resources lost against a 3-base Terran that is basically undamaged. Also, if you look at the supplies, Zerg is behind on supply. Where has all that money been going? That is unfortunate. Alright. He is behind on pretty much everything except gas income. And he is stockpiling gas like crazy. He must be waiting for something. He needs to spend that money, and he needs to do something about... Alright, well here's that something. A lot of lings coming in. Army out of position to defend that. 2 tanks should not be enough. Even pulling the Banelings back, he doesn't even need them at this point. All those lings are just going to clean up. And this third base is not going to be held. So he's going to counterattack onto his opponent's third, and I think this is definitely the right decision. Damage has been done at his own third, and this is definitely going to go down. Just a matter of how many drones can he kill. Third is down. Lings are coming in to defend, but they are not going to take on this army. Especially, oh, look at that split. That was a nice splitting, but there is no but. That was actually just a lot of Marines killing everything. We have 9 SCVs killed, 13 drones. And it looks like DatMunniez, I think he should probably pull back at this point. I'm not sure about this, but it looks like he has a bit of much more of an opening than I thought he would. Lings are just kind of running down to their death now. Our Zerg just does not really have... Oh, he has 8 Ultralists on the way. That's going to be his savior. Ultralists are now ridiculous against Marines, doing their full 35 damage and an AoE in front of them. So basically everything on the ground is just not going to stand up to these. So DatMunniez should really snipe off that hatch and then pick up and get out. And he does. Very slowly. Ignite it. There we go. Afterburners have been ignited. So our Zerg is now on sort of 3 bases. This one's about to finish. This one he could start to drone up. That just got scanned, and that is a very, very nicely timed scan. One thing to note for Terrans is that you can actually... He might have been able to use one of those spare medevacs to scout that out real quick, but that's kind of arguable. He does have some Marines in those medevacs that could be shooting right now, but these Ultras are just coming in and wrecking havoc. In this choke, though, all that Ultra damage is just not going to be all that much. They just take so long to come down. What do we have for upgrades? We have 2-2, plus another 2 for the Ultra upgrade. I forget what the actual name for that is. Marines at 2-2 as well. Neither player going for 3-3 yet. And Marines are just not going to cut it against these Ultras. We do have Marauders starting to come out, which is definitely the right choice. He wants Marauders. He also could use a few more... Tanks do bonus damage to armored, but their splash is just not really going to cut it. There's no splash damage given. I have seen unsieged tanks actually do quite well against Ultralists. It's a bit of a desperation move, though. Not entirely recommended as your primary choice. Primary choice definitely Marauders, especially if you're already going bio. Though he should start those 3-3 if he does not have them already. Which he does not. He does not have 3-3. And he definitely has the money for it. His third base also just staying afloat, so at some point very soon he's going to need to handle that. Because while this next base starts droning up, getting him income, the game is just going to keep going, and the Terran is just not going to have the money to keep up. So I did do some nice early damage. This is starting to swing back to Zerg. If Terran doesn't do something soon. Tank sieging up. This is going to hurt. Question is who? 14 kill Ultralists right there. Yeah, that army is not going to beat those Ultralists. This base is still up. Zergling here could burrow it, but not really a huge deal at this point. Zerg is retaking this base as well. and this base. So Zerg is, if Terran cannot take out some of these bases through drops, or just some kind of push, because those Ultralisks are, they're quick, but they can't be everywhere at once. If you get a drop here and a drop here, you can do some serious damage. And now is really the time to strike, especially when the Zerg is just trying to get their economy up. Speaking of drops, here we go. We have 2 medevacs coming in full of Marines. Looks like a Marauder or 2 as well. Not sure about this location, though. Unless he plans on picking up and then swooping back to kill off that base. Which I'm totally hoping he does. Ultralisks are already going back there, though. If we had a drop coming up here at the same time, that would just be absolutely beautiful. Where did those medevacs go? Ah, here we go. Coming up here. Yeah, see the route he's taking, the Ultralisks actually can follow pretty easily. And if you're just doing one drop at a time, you are not going to get the damage in that you really need to at this point. This base is... he just gave up on the burrowed Zerglings there. He did not want to deal with those, which I'm kind of surprised about, and I also think he actually needs to land mules there or do something with those. But again, microing this drop, and just look at the Zerg bank right now. We have 2,500 minerals and 1,500 gas. Plummeted kind of quickly after 25 Banelings. Ouch. Sees those and starts trying to clean those up right away. I think that's a good decision. But he's gonna have to get out of there pretty quick. At least cancels a few. Those medevacs have to get back. Tank sieging up way late. They were not ready for that attack. Oh, that is brutal. Oh, DatMunniez, GG. Come on, sadness. All right, soldiers are pretty good. I think the real point of that game, though, I don't think it was the Ultras that necessarily won the game. It was that after the initial damage, if we go back to, let's see, I think I was a little too early. I'll go up here. It was basically after they traded thirds, the Terran just bunkered up and couldn't really get any damage out. He did some drops, and those were sort of working, but if you look at the bases, if he had done 2 drops at once, he would have just absolutely wrecked one of those bases. And just, you have to keep them down, and you have to retake this third as soon as you possibly can. You need to start keeping it, because if you 2 base is great as Terran, but if you don't kill them on 2 base, you are in for a world of hurt. So I would have liked to see maybe a planetary here, some more defense, retaking it after losing it, because he never really retook it after losing it here. Killed the third, which is great, and look at that supply difference. Part of that was that the Zerg was not spending his money, but even... okay, he just spent all his money. Even as he does that, he's still behind on supply. And pushing in like this, I think this was great, but he probably should have gone... he really needed to know about this base. And this base. And while that was great, as was that, he was in a great spot at this point. The problem was the follow-through. Because when these Ultras came in, he fended them off, but he was just so afraid of these Ultras that he could never retake this third base, and he really needed to take that third base. Needed to know about this. Needed to know about this. And the drops, it was a good effort, but he didn't really have anything to back it up with, and the Ultras can chase around medevacs all day if it's only 1 drop at a time. So, that was Karganator versus DatMunniez. And hopefully that was interesting and useful to someone. Cool. I don't know what else to say, so bye.